The Zephyrians had always considered themselves apex predators of the galaxy. Their crystalline exoskeletons gleamed under the harsh lights of their interrogation chambers, and their compound eyes reflected nothing but cold calculation. For 3 cycles they had dominated 17 star systems, breaking every species they encountered with methodical precision. But they had never encountered a human before. Sarah Chen hung suspended in the center of the chamber, energy restraints cutting into her wrists as the alien devices probed her mind with increasing intensity. The Zephyrian Inquisitor, Veltar, circled her slowly, its mandibles clicking in what passed for amusement among its kind. "Your species fascinates us, human," Veltar spoke through its translator. "Such fragile biology, yet you resist where others would have broken cycles ago." Sarah's head lolled forward, blood trickling from her nose. The neural extractors had been working for hours, trying to pull the location of the human fleet from her memories. But Earth's military had prepared for this. Her mind had been conditioned, compartmentalized, made into a fortress that even she couldn't fully access under duress. "The fleet coordinates," Veltar demanded, increasing the neural probe's intensity. "Tell us and your suffering ends." Sarah lifted her head, her dark eyes meeting the alien's compound gaze. Despite the agony coursing through every nerve, she managed a weak smile. "Go. To hell." The Inquisitor's frustration manifested in a harsh chittering sound. It gestured to its subordinates, who activated additional torture devices. Sonic disruptors sent waves of pain through Sarah's bones, while chemical injectors introduced toxins designed to create maximum suffering without allowing unconsciousness. For 6 more hours they worked on her. The human screams echoed through the chamber, but never once did she break. Even as her body began to shut down from the trauma, her mind remained locked away, protected by training and an iron will that baffled her captors. "Impossible," Veltar hissed as Sarah's vital signs finally flatlined. No species can endure that level of neural disruption. The pain should have shattered her consciousness completely. The other Zephyrians gathered around the lifeless form, their sensors confirming what their instruments displayed. The human was dead, brain activity ceased, cardiac function stopped, cellular decay beginning. They had pushed too far, and now their only source of intelligence was gone. "Dispose of the remains," Veltar ordered, already planning how to explain this failure to the collective. "Seal the body in the waste ejection chamber. Perhaps the next human we capture will prove more cooperative." The subordinates moved to comply, but protocol demanded a 37-minute observation period before disposal. It was a precaution born of encounters with species that could fake death or had unusual biological resurrection capabilities. The Zephyrians had learned to be thorough. 36 minutes passed in tense silence. The guards monitored their instruments, watching for any sign of deception. Sarah's body remained motionless, temperature dropping, cellular decay progressing exactly as expected for a dead human. At 37 minutes and 15 seconds, something impossible happened. Sarah's eyes snapped open, not gradually, not with the slow awakening of someone recovering from unconsciousness. Her eyes opened with the sharp focus of someone who had been aware all along, who had been waiting. The Zephyrian guards clicked in alarm, raising their weapons, but they were too slow. Sarah moved with fluid precision that defied her previous state of death. The energy restraints that had held her for hours suddenly sparked and failed, as if her body now carried an electrical charge they couldn't contain. "Warning. The specimen has..." The guard's transmission cut short as Sarah's hand closed around its throat. The crystalline exoskeleton, designed to withstand plasma fire, cracked like glass under her grip. Veltar scrambled backward, its compound eyes wide with terror. "Impossible! You were dead. Our instruments confirmed brain death." Sarah stepped down from the restraint platform, her movements unnaturally graceful. When she spoke, her voice carried harmonics that hadn't been there before. Deeper, resonating with something that made the alien's carapaces vibrate in sympathetic frequency. "I was dead," she confirmed and smiled. "For 37 minutes I was completely, clinically dead. Do you know what humans call that?" The remaining guards opened fire, their plasma weapons painting the chamber in deadly light. The energy beams struck Sarah directly, but instead of burning through her flesh, they seemed to be absorbed, making her skin glow with an inner radiance. "A near-death experience," she continued, walking through the plasma fire as if it were warm rain. "Most humans who have them report seeing a tunnel of light, feeling peace, meeting deceased relatives. But that's not what happened to me. Veltar's chittering became frantic as it triggered every security protocol in the chamber. Force fields snapped into place. Additional weapons deployed from the ceiling and emergency signals screamed across the ship's communication network. None of it mattered. Sarah reached the Inquisitor in 3 steps that covered 20 meters. Her hand passed through the force field like it wasn't there, and she lifted Veltar by its primary mandible. "What I experienced," she said, her voice now carrying the weight of something vast and terrible, "was awakening. You see, humans have a peculiar relationship with death. We've always suspected it wasn't the end, that there was something more waiting for us. You just proved it." The alien's exoskeleton began to crack under pressure that wasn't entirely physical. Something was wrong with local space-time around the human, as if reality itself was bending to accommodate her presence. "When I died, I didn't go toward any light," Sarah explained conversationally. "I went deeper, into spaces between spaces, into the quantum foam where consciousness goes when flesh fails. And there I found others. Millions of others. Every human who ever died with unfinished business, with wrongs to right, with debts to collect." Veltar tried to speak, but found its vocal apparatus paralyzed by terror that reached beyond the merely physical. "They're all still there, waiting in the spaces between heartbeats, in the pause between thoughts. And now, thanks to you proving that death isn't permanent for humans." Sarah's smile widened, revealing teeth that gleamed with starlight. "They can all come back." The ship's hull began to resonate with a frequency that no Zephyrian instrument could measure. Throughout the vessel, the other captured humans, the ones who had died under interrogation in previous cycles, began to stir in their disposal chambers. "Thank you," Sarah said to the paralyzed Inquisitor. "You've just given humanity the greatest gift imaginable. You've proven that we're more than biology, more than flesh and bone. You've shown us that we are eternal." The ship's lights flickered as something vast and patient began to manifest in the space. Around them, the presence of every human who had ever died with purpose unfulfilled. Sarah released Veltar, who collapsed to the deck, its consciousness already fragmenting under the weight of what it had witnessed. "Now," she said, her voice echoing with the harmony of countless others, "let's discuss those fleet coordinates. I think it's time humanity had a proper conversation with the Zephyrian collective." Outside the ship, reality bent and twisted as the impossible became inevitable. Death, it seemed, was just another barrier that humanity had learned to overcome.